Now for our feature story of the day, Michael Saylor just told Donald Trump to buy up to 25% of the Bitcoin supply for the United States of America so that they can have 5.25 million BTC. Now, keep in mind that there's a finite limited supply on Bitcoin where there can only ever be 21 million in existence. So if you take 21 million times 25%, that's where we come up with this number. I'm going to break this down in deeper details. Also, we have to speculate 5-6 million of the Bitcoin is lost, stagnant, and gone forever, which makes it that much more scarce. Now, if the United States was actually follow the proposal by Michael Saylor, we could literally raise an insane amount of money, $60 to $100 trillion of wealth. And I believe we're currently like 37 trillion in debt. So this is a pretty big deal. Michael Saylor also just recently shared this at the White House Digital Summit, and I can give you the outline and cover all the highlights of what you need to know. But let's start right here from this post from Bitcoin Magazine. Michael Saylor advised President Trump at the White House Summit today to acquire up to 25% of the Bitcoin network. As you can see, number one, acquire 5 to 25% of the Bitcoin network and trust for the nation through consistent programmatic daily purchases between 2025 and 2035, when 99% of all the Bitcoin will have been issued. And number two, the strategic Bitcoin reserve has the potential to generate 16 to 81 trillion dollars in wealth for the U.S. Treasury by 2045, offering a viable pathway to offset the national debt. And number three, never sell your Bitcoin. By 2045, the reserve should be generating 10 plus motherfucking trillion annually, continuously growing and serving as a perpetual source for prosperity for the American people for generations to come. Can I get an amen? Trump, hopefully you're listening to the Giga Chat. I think he's a very smart man. So let's dive a little deeper into this. This is a pretty big story. 60 to 100 trillion in wealth to be generated. So let's break this one down, and then I'll open the report that Saylor shared with the actual White House. So yeah, self-proclaimed crypto President Trump was listening along with government officials, industry leaders, and financial executives who were all in attendance at the talk of the future of Bitcoin in America. Saylor dropped the 34-page document shared directly with Trump and the attendees, laid out an entire strategy to restructure the U.S. financial system with crypto at its core. Here's the actual post in which he shared, and which I'll open up here shortly, but first I'll give you some of the highlights. The main focus here is to make sure Trump proposed strategic Bitcoin reserve can erase the national debt, dominate cyberspace, and turn the United States into the ultimate financial powerhouse. Saylor told Trump that the U.S. started to buy Bitcoin right now, and if they to do so, it could generate 16 to 81 trillion dollars worth of wealth for the Treasury by 2045, ultimately a 20-year plan. With that same time frame, the strategic Bitcoin reserve could be bringing over 10 trillion per year, all without ever selling a single Bitcoin. America can control 25% of all the Bitcoins ever in circulation, according to the Giga Chad. Saylor told Trump that the U.S. must immediately start accumulating BITI through a consistent programmatic daily purchase strategy, in which I read to you. The goal, control 5 to 25%. 5 would be a bearish scenario. That's what Cynthia Lummis proposed. The Giga Chad is seeing the bigger picture. If they really want to be the superpower of the world for decades to come, you got to go full retard mode, Trump. You need to go all in at 25% and purchase 5.25 million of the Bitcoin. Do you hear me, Trumpster? Eric Trump, Trump Jr., Barron Trump, whoever's running the show behind the scenes, are you listening? Before 2035, when 99% of the Bitcoin has been mined, once locked in, Bitcoin's fixed supply, long-term price appreciation would turn to the reserve into a perpetual wealth engine. Quoting him again, the race to dominate the cyberspace has already started. Saylor warned in the report, if we don't lead, someone else will. His argument was clear. We don't want Canada, Justin Trudeau, to lead. We don't want China or Russia to lead the way, do we, Trump? If the U.S. wants to remain the global financial superpower, it must own Bitcoin in massive quantities. It must. Not even a question anymore. Welcome to the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit. Last year, I promised to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world. And we're taking historic action to deliver on that promise. That was one of the opening statements from the Trumpster at the conference yesterday, in which we covered all the announcements and highlights during the live stream. I was actually streaming live at the time they were live. It was pretty epic. If you missed it, that was a historic podcast. Be sure to check it out after today's stream. But anyways, China noted they have a already moved aggressively into digital finance, and if the U.S. doesn't act now, it looks like they're going to lose the economic edge forever. Theoretically, they say China already holds more Bitcoin than the United States. Saylor also made it clear that the U.S. government should never sell its Bitcoin holdings. The plan is simple. Buy, hodl, repeat. Buy, hodl, repeat. That should be the next song, Shandy Jam. Buy, hodl, repeat. As the supply of the new Bitty dries up over time, demand will skyrocket. The price will climb, and the U.S. Treasury will be sitting on a motherfucking gold mine. Saylor's proposal also laid out an entire motherfucking framework for rebuilding the U.S. financial system around crypto. His plan breaks the term digital assets into 4 categories, por favor, making it easier to integrate the crypto with traditional markets. Number 1, digital tokens, corporate-backed assets used for fundraising and innovation. These would allow the U.S. companies to raise trillions through tokenized securities. Number 2, digital securities, tokenized stocks, bonds, and ETFs that would trade 24/7. Global markets eliminating intermediaries, cutting the costs. Number 3, digital currency, U.S. dollar-backed stablecoins issued by American companies to maintain the global financial control. Number 4, digital commodities, Bitcoin, which is designed for wealth preservation, long-term value of storage. Saylor, who loves the Bitty more than probably anyone else on the planet, referred to it as an asset without an issuer, backed by digital power for capital preservation and appreciation. And if followed through, Saylor believes that this motherfucking framework will add 60 to 100 trillion to the U.S. economy by the end of the decade. His breakdown is 10 trillion from tokens, 20 trillion from digital securities, 10 trillion from stables, and 20 trillion from the Bitty. The dominant digital commodity, Bitcoin, will serve as a global standard for capital preservation and appreciation, attracting trillions of capital flows with the U.S. as the primary beneficiary. All inside the document. Saylor also called for an immediate and permanent end to hostile policies that are crippling the crypto industry. In the U.S., among his polite demands are the following: stop unfair taxation on Bitcoin mining and crypto transactions. Saylor argued the government should encourage, not punish, mining operations. Number 2, force banks to accept crypto businesses. Debanking crypto firms is a national security risk. Preach. Number 3, give U.S. companies the freedom to issue digital assets without endless regulatory roadblocks. And number 4, let digital assets move freely over the net. The government should not interfere with crypto transactions, and I couldn't agree more. The government should support, not suppress, Bitcoin and crypto innovation. If the U.S. takes the lead, capital will flow into the country, jobs will be created, and our economy will thrive, aka we can make America great again. It all starts with Bitcoin adoption. Let me know if you guys agree. Trump, who has now fully embraced Bitcoin, he gone full retard on the Bitty, has reportedly receptive to Saylor's vision. Hence why Saylor was there at the White House. His administration has already moved to deregulate parts of the crypto industry and encourage private sector innovation. Saylor's message only reinforced what Trump has been saying for months. The U.S. must become the Bitcoin superpower of the world, because there can only ever be one. Saylor's proposal also stressed the geopolitical risk of ignoring the Bitty. If the U.S. doesn't take control, as I referenced earlier, China, Russia, and other adversaries most definitely will. This is a matter of national security. According to the document, Bitcoin is the most valuable asset in cyberspace. Whoever controls it controls the future. The meeting of the White House made one thing clear: the battle for crypto dominance is already underway. With Trump in the office and Bitcoin at the center of U.S. financial strategy, the next decade could see a massive economic transformation, 60 to 100 trillion, literally at stake. And the only question right now, will the U.S. move fast enough? Let me know your thoughts. And Michael Saylor, again, he shared this infamous document, A Digital Asset Strategy to Dominate the 21st Century Global Economy, with Trump and the White House. And check the show notes below the video in the description to get access to it. When you open it up, it looks like this. And again, I already shared the highlights. It's a 38-page document, so I'm not going to read it verbatim, but you now have the resource in the show notes below the video in the description. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Trump will follow through with the proposal from the Giga Chad and invest anywhere for the United States 5 to 25% of the Bitcoin supply? Do let me know, family, and I'll read your comments out loud, and welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream.